Dun, 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 dun. Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
Thank you,
Hi.
SirDodonks88 for the 7-month tier 1 sub.
Thank you oh so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Do I have a poll? No, I do not. I can create a new command. Straw poll. Straw poll. Poll. Global cooldown of, let's go 60 seconds. And then, yep, cool. So now, if I... Hopefully I did set this thing properly. Hang on a second, let me just refresh this thing. And then go edit. Yep, it's just chatting. Cool. Hi there, Sir Dragon. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. For party games team, we're taking votes on what game you want to play. Cool, so that works. I can then go show results. Live results. Cool, awesome. So what I could do is... Alright, I'm gonna go to studio mode. Also, I should probably share the publish. There we go. Hi there, guess I know a guy. Lovely beans. Lovely beans there. That's actually pretty decent. Nice work. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Excellent work. Hopefully everyone is doing a-okay. Beans for free? The beans are free? Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for the free beans. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it oh so much. Especially as I exist with, like, not even the strongest of energies right now. I'ma be real with you. It is... Alright, where was I going?
Hello!
Hello, Jason! Alrighty, so I need to go to my core overlays, because that's where it is. And then create a new browser capture, and I'm going to call this straw poll results. Making it visible. That's fine. As I paste this in, hit OK. It refreshes. Donk. Alrighty. Also, why does this thing need to give me advertisements? Just nomming on a banana? Is that a banana? Are you talking about a... Oh my gosh. Also, why interact? Alright, can I... Why is all this advertisement here? No. Ugh. Close. Like, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. How did I... Ugh. Alrighty, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna change this to 1920 by 1080. And then I'm just gonna crop it to the predictable size. There we go. Drop you over here. Cringe you just a little bit more. There we go. Alrighty, move over to the... Oh, of course not. The chat screen. There we go. Alright. Okay, I need to adjust this even further. Also, I need to move this thing, so then that way it doesn't, it's not over top all the other notifications I've got and shit, so... Alright, so this is basically the very bottom. And then... Yunk. Yunk. This is probably not the perfect crop. I can't get a good look at this, unfortunately. So, oh, windowed projector source? No. Windowed projector screen. There we go. So if I full screen this, then I can make the adjustments. That way I can try and, like, make it within the thingy-madiggies. Oh, this is so helpful. Alright. So yeah, I'll crop it, like, here. And then... Ding, 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 donk. There we go. So you get, like, the tiniest... There we go. And then... There! Look at that! 'Tis the life of a tech setup. 'Tis the life. You are correct. 'Tis the life. Alrighty. We're gonna put it in the top left, like so. The high transition is gonna be a slide to the left. And the show transition is gonna be a slide to the right. Hello there. And we're gonna make it like a really long slide as well. So not 300 milliseconds, but like not like a second. We're gonna make it like a long ass second is what we're gonna do. Hi Ripper, welcome to the stream. I am low energies right now.
Hello.
Hello. Alrighty. Yep. So core overlays, straw poll results. All right. So if I turn off studio mode and then there we go. That is honestly hilarious. That it's like. Okay. I wonder why it has like. Oh, it's because the cropping is like. Okay. I know what I need to fix. I need to somehow tell it. Oh, actually, no, I know. We need to apply a filter. Sorry, I need to fix... So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna... Dink. Look at all this. Look at all this advertisement. Like, this is fucking shit. Like, how am I supposed to present this to people without people being reminded about Loki and Elemental and shit? Like, come on. Come on. Crop and padding. There we go. So we put the cropping here. And so the left side, let's just go 800 real quick. All right, so it's not 800. What about 550? 500? 600. Nope. So 550. Nope. 520. All right, so 510 seems to be a good one. Also, thank you for the fish. Alrighty, and then so from the top, 250? 245, 240, 220. There we go, 220. From the bottom, let's go with another 220, 240, 260, 270. You know what I wish could be a thing? I wish there could be a way, like, maybe someone knows how to do this. Also, I need to turn on the live thingy-majiggy on my thingy. I just realized my face tracking wasn't like actually engaged and was engaging and all that kind of shit. So hang on a second. Boop. There we go. What would be really great for OBS to do is if they made like a thing to make it so that like after you do the cropping of a source or something like that, you can right click it and you can convert the crop, like the cropping of the source, into a filter crop. Because I reckon that would be brilliant. Alright, so we gotta adjust the top again, because now there's even more advertisements. So, 440. Nope, too high. 420. 400. 320. 220. 300. Oh, I could just use the scroll wheel. That's so much better. Oh, I see. Okay. Ding ding. There we go. So 255. And then from the right... Look at that. We can almost be precision if we wanted to. Alrighty, so that's... So that's 512. I hate that. This is 385, and on the left we can make it... Yep, so 512 by 512 with 385 off the top and 255 off the bottom. And I reckon if I do the scene transition... Oh my god, look at that. It doesn't, like, have all the other, like, junk coming in and shit like that. Oh my goodness. There is a reason for the cropping feature in the filters. It makes it so that, like, you know, it's part of this thingamadiggy. Although I can see, like, the tiniest sliver of a thingamadig. Hang on a second. Now I want to fix that. God damn my fixing nonsense. Alright. Because, like, there's a tiny... Wait, is it just... No, hang on, it's... Oh, no, it's because of the chat window is why. Alright. Dink donk. There we go. So, there it is there. Alrighty then. So what I could probably do then is I can reapply my stuff. Also, who's in the chat? We got Jason, we got Gasanoigo, we got Justin, we've got Ripper, who just said hello there like a whiles ago. And then we got Sir Dragon, who recently did a resub. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Alrighty, so, OBS, sources, set source visibility, not the just chatting, but the core overlays, specifically the straw poll results. And yeah, so we want to have one that does it as visible, and then we're going to duplicate and make that one invisible. And then we're going to apply a delay of about let's say 30 seconds. 30 I was about to write 30 seconds at the milliseconds. All right, so that's 30 1 2 3. So that should be 30 seconds. So if I hide this and I instead go exclamation point poll 1 Mississippi, 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 15 27 28 29 30 31 32. Okay, cool. So I was just counting too quickly there. But yeah, cool. 30 seconds. The delay is now active for 30 seconds. Anytime the little thingy-majiggy wants to do a short reminder about my poll, or someone does exclamation point poll. So we got that going for us, which is nice. Man, it's good to make small wins like that. Let me tell you, chat. Small wins are what keep me going. I'm going to be real with you. Small wins across the day. Quick sippies. So yeah, so yesterday. Hands. There we go. Yes. Hang on. I'm gonna move my OBS like thingy-majiggy front and center rather than like looking off to the side and such like that, because, you know, this is where I'm looking. Oh my god, you won another round. You got a pitchfork is why. You got a pitchfork. How was Sydney? Yes. Thank you, Jason. So, yesterday I went to Sydney. That was the next office I needed to go to for you know, me as desktop support visiting all the different satellite offices that we have. So this one seemed like a little more permanent than the other one, I'm gonna be real with you, so I didn't want to like say any like details of like where I was going and shit like that, because, you know, the address of where it is not like, it's not like a massive long like, you know when people talk about like, oh, it's on the Bruce Highway. That's not an accurate description. That's like saying, oh, it's somewhere along this long sliver of Queensland. Same as if you say Gympie Road, or if you're over in Melbourne, there's like a huge line called Coventry, and then there's like Victoria it like has like dozens of references to queens and shit like that. So, but yeah, so I went to Sydney yesterday. I woke up at the crack of 2 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. I wish I was joking about that, but for whatever reason, I am waking up at random times in the night, and I'm unable to, like, you know, just quietly turn over and shit. It is really fucking annoying. But any hoosies, I woke up at 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning for, like, a 3 a.m. Pickup with an Uber. Work paid for that one, thank goodness. Also, I need to adjust my microphone. There's, like... Hang on. Ow, come on. No, we're not talking about the Yakuza right now. We are talking about my trip to Sydney and shit. We got a little bit of... no, that always told me caffeine was good for muscles. I feel like that's a lie. I feel like that's a lie. Question for you, chat. Is caffeine good for muscles? Because my sister seems to think it is. Anyway, Sydney. So, woke up at 2 a.m., took an Uber at 3, to catch a flight at... Basically, was leaving at... Flights do this thing where it's like, oh, we leave at 5:30, even though we said it was a 6... Or, we're boarding the plane at, like, 5:30 to get going at 6. It was only an hour-and-a-half flight, which was perfectly fine. That's basically only twice as long as my trip on the train, so... Easily was able to do that and not go through all of my TikToks that I pre-downloaded. A lot of good TikToks when you pre-download it, and it's one of the few times that TikTok decides to give me like an algorithm that is very dumbed down, where it's like, oh, here are some subjects that you have liked in the past, and here are your friends' TikToks. I have seen so many of unnamed TikToks and of other streamers when I decide to be like, oh hey, can you pre-download me 200 TikToks? And they're like, how do we know your interests? And I'm like, how about you look at my friends list and my likes in the past? And they're like, okay, sounds good to me. And I get so many TikToks of like friends and what have you. It's great. So, got into Sydney, and I got into Sydney before 9, which was great. So I was able to get a start on the day to basically having it like a 9 to 5. I carried with me a power board on the flight as well, and now it's left at the Sydney office. I don't have to worry about that shit, thank goodness, because it was a very like clunky thing to carry around. Hi there, Het. Welcome to the stream. I'm just recounting like my Sydney and shit like that. Thank you for the head pats. I really appreciate it. So, got into work. Got to a desk that was like remote and what have you, and I did my day in the office. I helped out a few people. Cookie for Justin Viper, here's your cookie. We had a UPS guy investigating the uninterruptible power supply. This was supposed to be done last week, but there was some communication issues with me going to the Melbourne office and me thinking that was like, you know, the first priority office. Meanwhile, my team lead boss, he was like, okay, he's going to this office. There's going to be a UPS at this office, because he was in correspondence with like the Sydney office. And there somewhere in our communication, it was like there was just like this slip. There was just this slip where it's like, oh, we're gonna travel to the office to deal with UPS. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Melbourne. So that happened last week, and I panicked and all that such. But now I'm able to laugh at the whole thing. And so like, because like 2 days ago, it was just sort of like, yep, I am aware of the UPS and powerboard thing I need to do. And he's like, yep, sounds good to me. And I'm like, you're absolutely, I won't go to the wrong office this time. So I didn't, so yeah, so got it to Sydney, dropped off the powerboard, UPS guy came in, he checked the shit, and he's like, yes, the UPS is relatively new. You haven't purchased it before 2015, and, you know, maybe one of the acid batteries in here needs to get replaced. So that's all you need to work about. I'm like, yeah, cool. Could you help me try and plug this thing in? Unfortunately, he can't, because all the plugs are underneath the floor. There's a huge gap. There's like this much of a gap. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. There is about a person like lying on their belly plus gap. Actually, it's an electrician, so let's be a little bit bigger. There we go. So there is this much of a gap under the floor that is currently holding like a server rack and all this kind of shit, because there's cables that go under there, including like power for the power boards and shit like that. So we gotta go through all of that nonsense. And so, like, you know, I'm not qualified to do this. Hi, Ginger Fox, welcome to the stream. Thank you for dropping in. I hope you're doing all right. I'm regaling really quickly my Sydney story and what have you, because I have not planned this stream very well, and a part of me just wants to go to sleep. So, went through Sydney, didn't, you know, take a proper break. It was raining and shit. Why? Do not pull the lever. Excuse me. How was Banjo? Because it's Nuts and Bolts. How was the most handsomest of Zeebs tired? That is my honest opinion. Tired because I went through Sydney. I didn't really have time to, like, you know, explore the city or anything like that. It was raining for a bit, so didn't, you know, go out to eat and shit. Then I went to the airport at like 5 to catch a flight to get back here at 7. And I think I got back home. I think I got back home at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I wasn't going to work today because I worked on a Saturday shift last week, and come on. There we go. And I elected to make the Friday my day off. Holy shit, I wish I could take like a much better break than I did currently, because here's how my day went. Actually, I turned off my sleep alarm, so I was able to just go to sleep for however long I want. Unfortunately, thank you for the Hyper Himbo het. Unfortunately, it wasn't that incredible of a sleep. No, thank you. Oh, 18th of March, low cardio. That's a long time ago. I thought you were talking about that. So, one of the things I'm trying to improve, or this is a thing I've always been trying to improve and what have you, is my sleep. Like, I want to be able to, like, I don't want to go through the day tired. No, don't steal my shirt for sniffs. What are you doing stealing my shirt? So, I try very hard to get some good sleep. It's one of those things where I had, like, a terrible sleeping schedule when I was in university, staying up for, like, you know, hours upon hours on end. Like, this is no joke. I would go through an entire day of uni, and then I would go back to the student dorm, I would be online, and I would do ERPs for, like, you know, however fucking long, because I was just that desperate for interaction and sex. And so, by the time it gets to, like, 3 in the morning or some shit, because, you know, most of the Americans I was communicating with were going to sleep, and most of the Europeans were getting off of their lunch break and shit, I was like, okay. So then I finally went to sleep, and it was normally, like, terrible sleep and what have you, because I would, you know, have a snooze or something like that in the middle of the day. So, I have been trying to fix that for the last several, like, years. Close to a decade now, I've been trying to fix that. Yeah, and the last few nights, I'ma be real with you, I have been awake for, like, several hours. Hey guys, what's this? Where's this European is at? I don't know where the European is. Also, hi there, Vol. Welcome to the stream. Wait, Vol. Wait, are you the Vol that we've invited to the dinner? Singapore Airport. the ADHD-ness is just like, hey, where's this European at? Singapore Airport. Which way to the brain surgery? Don't be late. Turkey sandwich, the icy dinner. It is okay. Clarification time. I asked Icy. Icy wanted. I asked Icy first, okay? I wanted to do a tapenaki dinner, and I was like, hey, would you like to join me for a tapenaki dinner? And he's like, yes, I would. And I'm like, great, we should invite a few friends. And he's like, I know exactly what you mean. I have a few in mind. And I was like, sounds good to me. So out of the 8 people, I am familiar with you, Vol. I know who Icy is. Jack was one of the moderators, and they're bringing a +1. I'm bringing along Strawberry Kitty and Ripper. Ripper, you in the chat? Ripper! Ripper, please come to the front of the chat, please. Yipper. Ripper! No boops for you. That is probably not even a moderator, thingy-madiggy. Shout out, Ripper. Thank you for shouting. This This dude right here who's going through Pokemon Stadium and shit. Actually, is he streaming now? Is that why he was like in here for the quickest minute and then just left? Hang on a second, let's see. No, he's not streaming. Cool. Alright, awesome. Not a problemos. Not a problemos at all. We are able to resume normal himbo-ness. Alrighty then. Also, is this thing... Yeah, cool. Let's see what the numbers say. Himbo. 97%. Good work. Good himbo rating. But yeah, so... that's going to be going off at Furdew, which is really cool. So, glad that you're able to join us, Vol. Hope to, see you and, hang out and what have you, because I need friends when I'm at Furdew. I need none artist friends that are doing a panel and shit. Hey, look at this! We got a poll running! Did you know there's a poll? Look at this poll! You get to vote on what game we're going to be playing tomorrow night. This time tomorrow. So, 23 and a half hours from now. Whatever is the most voted. And right now it looks like it's going to be Jackbox Games. So, actually, hang on a second. I need to also look at my thingy-majiggies. What's the thingy-majiggy I was going to look in? Oh, yeah, TextPad. Because there was also, like, 2 other, whatsamahoozies that occurred. So, yeah, so I did a vote previously. Yeah, Jackbox got 14 in the first vote. Jackbox got 6, while everything else got, like, 2s, 3s. It looks like Jackbox Games is going to be, like, what we're going to be playing tomorrow. So, there's that. Alright, where is me? Alright, I need to turn off my Twitters, because this is not helpful for me. I'm just going to be looking at boobs and udders for who knows how long, and that is not indicative of a good time on stream while I'm in the middle of chatting with everyone, especially when I want to get through, like, a mixture of just, like, fun nonsense that happens. Jacked Fox. Can I play? Yes! Yes, it's okay. I feel like... Jason, you need to know this as well as you're a moderator. The point of the party game stream that goes off once a month is me trying to do, like, a thing for viewers to join in on. That's why one of the criteria for when we do these party games is that it has to be something that can, allow for dropping in, dropping out into the thing, or, large numbers. That's the purpose. That's why Jackbox is always going to be something there. I don't want to put Fortnite up there because, you can only have a maximum of 4 peeps, and the last thing I want to do is get met with, like, another underaged kid while I'm in the middle of streaming, because holy shit, that, like, confused the fuck out of me, and I was just like, alright, let's just block, ban, pause, and get the fuck out of Dodge. So, there was that. And then, so yeah, but games like Goose Goose Duck, or stuff that isn't expensive to get into and such. And what's more, Monster Hunter World I threw on there is because you can have, like, 16 peeps in one session. Sippies, sorry. So, like, you can have, like, 16 people in one online session for the Monster Hunter World. So then that way, it's a case of, oh, if you want to go in on hunts, you can either do it with me, or there might be other people who might need to go through a hunt as well, and, drop in and drop out and such. God damn it, Tatsu! Hatsume Miku, no! I don't know why that popped into my head as a phrase. You're nothing like Hatsume Miku. Sunday daylight savings ends for me. Nice! It is a stupid fucking system in the IT world. Any pronouns, cool. Hatsume Miku, what's she doing here? But yeah, so you have an idea now. You have an idea now, do you? You have an idea. Do tell me this idea, as I am ill-prepared for this stream tonight. A part of me is, like, wanting to go to bed, I'm gonna be real with you, because I woke up this morning after, like, I told myself I was gonna get, actually, this is why I pulled out the phone. I was in bed for 9.5 hours. So I tried to go to, the sleeping kind of started at, like, 9 p.m., 8 p.m.-ish. And I was awake for, like, 2 hours. There was 2 hours of time where I was awake. I have been averaging only, like, 6.5 hours of sleep. More sleep data, please. Yeah, so much, like, there's So in the last, let's see, if I look in the last week, on average, I'm awake for at least half an hour plus. Average REM, 1 hour and 51 minutes. Core, 4 hours. Deep sleep, 50 minutes. I feel like 9% of the time I'm asleep, I'm awake. Like, how much deep sleep should I have? Hang on a second. Where's Opera GX? We are going to be running shit through Opera GX, because then that way it actually, in case we ever view something that's like a video or something, it actually goes properly into the Whatsamahoozy channels. How much deep sleep per night is normal? You should aim for about 13 to 23% of your sleep to be in those stages. Oh, I'm below that. How much deep, light, and REM sleep do you need? Thank you, TexasHealth.org. Even as Unnamed is currently on a break, Texan is still there to assist me. Let's have a look. Says the symptoms of not enough sleep are lengthy. Among them, lack of focus, irritability, fatigue, anxiety, depression, lightheadedness, high blood pressure, low cognitive functioning, sexual dysfunction, lack of motivation, higher susceptibility to infections and injuries, and slow healing. Oh, joy. In addition, lack of sleep can make chronic illnesses much worse and contributes to lower recovery to the... Yeah, you've already explained that in the slow healing from illness and injury. Alrighty, so stages 3 and 4 are deep sleep cycles, with stage 4 being the deepest sleep. Your breathing, your heart rate, your body temperature, and your brain waves are at their lowest level. Your muscles are extremely relaxed, and it's difficult to rouse someone awake who is in these stages. These stages are where the most restorative sleep is happening. This is when tissue growth and repair take place. Important hormones are released, memories are consolidated, the immune system and cellular energy are restored, and the brain detoxifies. These typically happen during the first half of the night and become more infrequent as you continue to snooze. You should aim for about 13 to 23% of your sleep to be in these stages. So if you get 8 hours of sleep, you should be getting anywhere between an hour and just under 2 hours of deep sleep. Holy fucking shit, I have not been getting that. I have been, like, 10 minutes off from getting deep sleep, and I know where it's going. Me waking up for whatever fucking reason. It is absolutely annoying. God damn it. Sounds like me. Yeah. We need to fix that. We need to fix that kind of nonsense. In the last 6 months, I've averaged about 7 minutes of being awake. In the last month, I've averaged 29. The last week has been 39, and today I was awake for... Wait, is this today? No, that's not today. Where's today? Here we go. So, today has been an hour and 14 minutes awake, and I know exactly why it is. My lower back, and most recently, my leg. Specifically, like, this one part of me that's, like, connecting my right leg to my groin, and I don't know how to, like, stretch this particular muscle, because it's not a simple one, like, oh, let me just kick my foot forward or something like that. It's this weird thing where you have to be like, alright, let me bend and, like, rotate this motion here. So, like, when you're crossing your legs, or the more often one that I'm feeling, like, very restrained in is when I want to put on my shoes. This is going to be a demonstration of, like, you know, just how overweight I am and how very unlike my avatar I am. But when I go to put on my shoes, I can easily, like, lift up my left leg. Granted, half the time I am, like, sort of assisting my foot and going up onto my knee to put my shoe on and shit. But then when it gets to my right leg, holy fucking shit, it just wants to drop like a ton of bricks. There is barely any flexibility to it. It is absolutely terrible. You have an idea now. Tatsu, what is your idea? You said that, like, however many minutes ago, and I don't exactly have the strongest idea or understanding where exactly that idea is going right now. So... Ugh. Lol. Alright. You're making a masterpiece. Ooh, nice. If I sleep at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m., I wake up at 8 a.m. It's too early. Damn. This is why I've tried committing to like a 10 p.m. at the minimum sleep time. Actually, I should probably move this soda stream and swap over to water. So yeah, so I have been... So yeah, so I woke up this morning, tightness in like the groin, like right leg area and shit. Lower back is tight, and I was like, you know what? It's my day off. You know what I'm gonna try and do? I'm gonna get a massage. Because I thought a massage would be nice. So I went and got a massage. I went for like an hour because I had the money to do this because I wasn't spending any money on food because work was paying me to go to different states and, you know, having to eat there and travel there. So I used some of the money I would have used on lunch and shit, and I decided to get myself a nice hour-long remedial massage. Is it called a remedial massage? Hang on a second. Let me look at my email to see what it is. It probably would have been a good thing if I actually double-checked what the fuck I got as a massage. Massage. Friday. One moment, please. I need to find, like, a recent email. Where the F are you? Did I delete you? Is that what I... No, I wouldn't have deleted you. Appointment. Where the fuck is... This is... Where is it? Where is the email that would have told me, hey, you probably would have had a, Give me a mew. Give me a moment. Where the fuck is... Alright, so there's the Uber ride. There's the... Where is it? I wouldn't have trashed that email, would I? The Google... Your appointment... No, do not move it into orders. Thank you very much. Alrighty. Great, now I have to go to orders because I moved it into there. Alright, cool. So I went for a remedial massage, an hour-long remedial massage, and you know, when you go to masseuses and such, they're like, oh, where's the pain? Because, like, I think the idea is that they want to either put a little more focus onto that area to try and, like, you know, stretch out and get rid of any of the, like, you know, the energies and, like, any of the knotting and such, or to, you know, go lighter, I think. I told them my right thigh and my lower back. Turns out that was not the only place that I was feeling a little bit tense. I was feeling tense in both my shins, my shoulder, and the entirety of my back. Or what's the part of the muscle that's like the lower half of your leg? You know that part that, you know, when you're doing the bending your foot forward stretch, and if you stretch that too hard, you then get, like, the leg cramp. And you've seen that animation where it just goes... Runk. What's that muscle? Actually, I can probably Google it. Shin muscle. The soleus. Calf. Okay, yeah, calf makes sense. Alright, so if I... I type in calf, and I get, Alright, so yeah, so the calf muscles. So there's the medical gastronomist... medical gastronomist... What cause... Oh, no, that's what's causing pain. I just want to know the muscles. The soleus. So, yeah, so the soleus. I was having pain in, like, the soleus, and they're just, like... They're just trying to, like, break it out. Like, trying to make it, like, not a problem and shit. Like, overall, you know, did not relax. It's a bit of a shame, because, you know, I thought the point of the medial massage is that it's supposed to, like, you know, put you in a sense of just, like, nothing's to be worries about. You just relax, so you're not tensing up for them as they, like, you know, just do a little, like, you know, press and just be like, let's stretch these muscles out. Let's get rid of all the bad energies and shit. Now, it wasn't that great for me. And it's like, I'm having these moments where I'm just sort of, like, I either hold my breath, or I do these, like, excuse me. That that cough wasn't one of the things I did there. But yeah, so after like an hour of like, you know, they do my back first, and that one felt like it took a long while. They do my front. They don't do too much with my front. Even my arms, like the forearms were like, you know, they had some tension into them and shit like that. I don't think there was a part of my body that was like, you know, relaxed and didn't need to have like a little more care to and such. And at the end of it, like, she's sort of like, oh, you know, when you get back, or like when you go back home, you should take a nice hot bath and have a glass of wine. Unfortunately, I don't drink wine, and wine is not relaxing to me. I did have the hot bath, however, but I am still wet from that. And I had that back at like 3 in the morning. Hi there, Luke Morfitt. Welcome to the stream. I have like no proper plans today, hence why I'm in the just chatting section. Wait, have you communicated? Yeah, you have communicated in here. Hi, how are you? Optus outage. Oh man, you've actually been here for a bit. I don't know why. The username gives me some normie energies, and like whenever I see normie names, I'm just sort of like, what's this guy doing here in like, you know, this style of a furry? Because like Tatsu makes sense. Jason, I'm gonna be real with you, Jason. It's not a very furry name, but I think that's just because you're just not a furry. Luke Morfitt, I am a furry. How is the furry name not the username? Isn't that like that's one of the curtails? Is this an account that like actually like, is this one of those real like accounts that's like, oh, I've had this since the internet was first a thing, and this is obviously a brilliant name, and I am never gonna let this go. Because I thought I had that name for a while. Okay. Fun fact, this is like back in the 2000s as well, so this is probably a name that might actually remind people of some shit. I used to be like Tahu Kid or Magic Boy. I think I was Magic Boy before I was Tahu Kid. Or Whiz Kid. Man, that was just, you know, terrible name, like Whiz Kid. Because I was like, oh yeah, whiz, as in like wizard, and like, you know, that's totally wizard. Hi there, Blue, welcome to the stream. Vol's here as well, and Vol called the dinner an icy dinner. What have you been telling him? Tasty. I'm not tasty. This isn't Scribbly's stream. This isn't a Vor enthusiast stream. Yeah, clip shout out.
What is it? Optimize.
Oh, look. This is Icy's best Italian. Watch this.
Me head into the city. Fudged about it.
Fudged about it. You sent me an invite. An invite to what?
What is it? Fugged about it? Freaking, what is this guy? Progressing the game.
Not this one again. It's gonna go through. Hang on a sec. I can probably double. You know what needs to happen, Blue? You need more clips of your stream. So if I go to efuse.gg/sidekick and I log in and I double check the overlays, I bet you. Oh my god, it wants me to. But yeah, anywho, so yeah, you send the invite to Vol. Maybe people should clip more. I don't have to clip. Au contraire, you should clip too. Assuming people will clip for you is not cookie for Night Sky. Here's your cookie, Night Sky. Alrighty then. So, my shoutouts. Let's have a look. So if I look at this thing and I go to the shoutout settings, the volume is at 100%. The width and the height are as they are. Let's have a look. Addition, nope. Shoutout commands is clip shoutout. It looks at your top clip in the last month. So if you want, I can change it to the last 7 days or the last 24 hours. Let's go for the last year. Let's save those settings. Let's go for the last year, and then let's see what is Blue Foxy Icy's best clip in the last year. Yeah, it's the Mario Go Burr. That's what I thought so. So yeah, so we're gonna put it back to in the last month.
I'm not pressing anything, chat.
So yeah.
I'm not pressing anything.
So yeah, and then me.
Someone explain to me what the frick is going on.
What the frick is going on is you are having a problem. Alrighty, I am going to go back to my sidekick, and then I'm going to check out my overlay for my BRB, because I believe that one is... Also, why is... Alright. Alright, if I look at the settings, it's anything out of my top 25. Let me... Top 200 with my most recent first. I think that's how I should do it. That's a much better... Actually, did that setting save? Enable this to only show clips from the category you're currently streaming under. If no clips are found, we'll show clips from any category like usual. Oh, hey, that's pretty. That's an interesting be right back setting, I'm gonna be real with you. Alrighty then. So yeah, that thingy-majiggy should be saved. Any whoosies, check your DMs. Can I show this on stream, please? Can I show this on stream? Also, you should drop that in the art channel. There, like, you can drop it in memes or you can drop it in art. This is brilliant. Hang on a second. This is absolutely hilarious. Yes. All right. Cool. Just to have the rest of chat join in, because of Tatsu stealing my shirt and then me slip of the tongue having my brain think Hatsume Miku. Check this out. Oh my god, this is a really big Hatsume Miku. All right. Yink. Look at that. Look at that. It's Hatsume Miku. Look at her. Look at her. Look at Hatsume Miku. Or, as it's clipped, or as it's named in the PNG, Tatsune Miku. Excellent. Brilliant work. You should be... I am so pleased when people can do art. I don't do the best of arts, I'm gonna be real with you. My drawings, as you have seen, chat, are not that great. My shit posting, I'm gonna be real with you, my usage of Photoshop and what have you, I'm pretty good at. I reckon I do a meme alright. I've done quite a few, like, copy pasta memes, I will be real with you, of, like, see booba bottom text is still my favorite meme that I use of my zebra. But I have also done other kinds of shit postings. Hi there, Kiaru. Welcome to the stream. Played Dragon Dogma 2. I don't have Dragon's Dogma 2. It's expensive, and I wasted $100 already on a remedial massage, and the remedial massage hasn't, like, you know, 100% helped me. I am still sore in the legs, and I have an issue with my, like, you know, the joint between my thigh and my groin. Do you want to borrow an account I have? Nope. Don't do that. I do not want to do that. Besides, I'm having a wonderful time chatting right now. And plus, I'm still 50-50 if I'm just gonna end the stream after chatting with you guys for an hour or so and just sort of be like, sounds good? Cool, I'm going to sleep because holy shit. But yeah, there are a number of memes that I have done and such like that. So, and what's more is some of the stuff I've done as well. For example, one of my favorite memes is Dexter being like, "Why is it taking so long? It has been precisely 30 seconds." For whatever reason, if you look for that, like, those two things, it is a really low quality. It's not even, like, 720p or 480p. So one of the things I did is I went and got the original screen caps. So they're 480 at least. And I was able to recreate this thingamadiggy, and I shared it on the internet somewhere. What's something I have shared? What's something I have done as a meme? Where's the memes that I've been so fond of? Galaxy Brain, the crying. Oh yeah, one of my favorites is this one I use sometimes. You know what's the proudest moment for me as a furry? My proudest moment is when a piece of art that I have commissioned, like, you know, my Zeeb has been commissioned in, and the artist has like they do a new sheet and they're like, "Oh, hey, you should come check me out. You should go buy a badge from me or something like that." Or I'm doing profile icons, and there is just so much pride in being able to see your persona getting used to getting used as a thingy-majiggy, getting used as a, oh, that's the PSD. Hang on a second. Here we go. Just need to wait for this thing to down. Oh wait, no, that's the PSD as well. What the shit? What the shit? Okay, hang on a second. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna open it. There is a whole slew of So, alright. File, export as PNG. Joy pointing at screen. Replace that image. Don't. Alrighty, minimize this. So, this is how quick I am with my photo. Look at this. Look, this was like a proud moment for me when Mutasaur did like a thing for being like, oh, she does profile icons and you should go check her out, and you should, by the by, you should totally check her out. By the by, she does amazing art and what have you. And here's me being like, oh, I know that Zeebs, I recognize those stripes. And so this is one of the things I will sometimes do when I see like commissioned work or like, you know, a commission sheet or something, and they're like, hey, you should come check out my stream, or you should go check out what I can make and such. And I'll just like grab the Joey Tribbiani thing and be like, look, and just be like, that's me. Look at that is legitimately, like, Joey is legitimately me 60% of the time as a furry, or 90% of the time as a furry. One of the other things I have done is try to make a custom art for, or not a, hang on a second, file, Blue will get a kick out of this one. MTG art, there we go. Blue, you'll get a kick out of this one. Is it stroking your ego? It's not that it's stroking my ego, it's that there's a piece of work that the artist has done, and they feel like that the work that they've done for you is like an indicative of good work. It's a little bit ego like stroking. I will be real with you, because, you know, I absolutely love my zebra when it gets referenced and shit. But it's one of those cases of like, I just feel so validated that my zebra is not like, you know, an absolute mess of a character, and is not, you know, artists don't look to him as, this is the worst thing I've had to draw. This one, look at this Blue. When I wanted to make a custom MTG art, and I was like, wouldn't this be great? Wouldn't this be great? Just getting Fist of the North Star screen caps. Moiwa Mo Shinderu. Love it. Thank you for the head pat set. Alright, there we go. Get rid of that image. And then I've done some silly drawings. I tried doing a drawing of jewelry. That didn't work out too well. Umbrella Academy shit. I've done a few things for Unsom. Oh, I need to recreate, like, the sleeping meme, I think. I understand that, or even greater is when you get a free gift out of nowhere. Okay, free gifts is just an absolute fucking tree, alright? It doesn't, that's not a furry thing. That's just a people thing. So, that's just a people thing, where it's just sort of like, ah, yes. I was able to get some, whatsamahoozy, blah, 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 blah. I got a free gift. That's not limited to furries. That's available to everyone. Oh yeah, and then really early on in my, oh my goodness. This one was like December 2021. I made this PNG. Hang on a second. This is when I was going through my Final Fantasy XIV. This was like really early on, and I just finished A Realm Reborn. What did I do to get this? And I got 2 in the last week. Oh, that's pretty impressive. Me. And okay, so over there is so the dark fur, the black fur is Savage Durg. The white and orange is Thorin, and then in the back, the blue one, you should hopefully many of you should recognize, is Code the Yoshi. I was not yet a Rothgar. I was still going around as a Rogadin, and I just was like, a warrior, and they're like, and I just thought like the way this this thing looked, because all 3 of them looking at me and me just looking at them in the car, it had a lot of like, mean girl energy of the get in, losers, we're going shopping. So I decided to like make my meme of drink your Fantasia, you're becoming a furry. So there's that. Let's see, what else have I done for peeps? Bunking the Zeebs. I've done the Cowabunga It Is at a higher quality. Different kinds of shit posting. Oh yeah, and then I tried to do a then I tried to do like a Monarch joke. Hi there, Benru. Becoming a furry. Bit late now. Yes. But the joke was that I wasn't the furry race when I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I only just finished A Realm Reborn where they give you the free Fantasia. So once I got through that, that's when I made the meme. Let's see, what's another? So this is another one I that I made based off of earlier on when Commander's Quarters did like a video or something like that, and I just thought it was a very funny like screenshot. You're off to bed, Sky? Not to worry. Damn, wish I was in bed. So I made this one. Oh my god, it's a little bit big. Hang on a second, let me fix that. Ah! Nope. No. There we go. Nope. Budget. There we go. So I made this one. If you don't know MTG, this is just gonna go over your head. But there's a mechanic that was introduced during Conspiracy and Conspiracy Take the Throne, which is you can take the monarchy. And the idea of the monarchy is that you get to draw a card at the end of your turn, and the monarchy goes to the person who last did combat damage to the monarchy. But there are card effects that can happen where, oh, you gain the monarchy, for instance. And what's more is some cards take a benefit from you being the monarchy. So, like, they might have extra effects at the end of their turn or at the end of their combat. And this was one of those cards. Queen Marchesa. When it was just a case of, when your friend plays Queen Marchesa, when you play Queen Marchesa. I thought it was a nice meme. Some of these took a while, some of them took no time at all. But yeah, I like doing Photoshop nonsense. I like trying to do it as like fast as I can, of like just, putting things together and what have you. And then we had like the trade-off for one back when my nose was like, crazy. Me as a trader. So yeah. Alright, close that. Close these. Close that. That too. Yeah, I'm close to that as well. Warhammer 40k Space Marine Anniversary Edition. Is it? Ow. Ow, my leg. Okay. Maybe this is like another hour long. I've not done like only an hour long streams very often, but they've definitely been of those cases of when they've only gone for an hour, it's because I have decided to prioritize like, something else, like my what's Mahuzi, like just mental or physical health kind of shit. And I think that's where I'm at right now. God, I have no clue what I weigh. For all I know, I could be like at the fattest I've ever been right now, and that's what my pain is at, but unfortunately, my scales have broken. I have no clue how much I weigh. I have no clue whatsoever. Change gift position. Move to the start of the wish list. There we go. Cannot handle it whatsoever. For all I know, I could be at the heaviest I'm at. I don't like being fat. I don't like being heavy. And the problem is that it's one of those cases of it's not problematic. It's not a thing that is like making my life harder at work. It just makes my life a little bit harder outside of work and when I'm not doing the things I like. So because that's the annoying thing is like the things I like to do don't make me fitter, and they're not a problem if I'm not fit. Fact is like some of this shit probably like relishes in, you know, not doing well. Ugh. Terrible. So yeah. Yeah, this is a very sour note. I'm gonna be real with you, chat. Yeah, I just don't feel it. And I'm gonna have to feel good tomorrow. Coming up is an hour. Is a 180-second long ad if you wanna avoid ads. Consider the reduce carb intake. Simplest way to reduce body fat. I am trying to do that. It's just you should do a spin the wheel. What, like the spin the wheel when we get to Saturday, or spin the wheel tonight? Maybe don't let it bother you. Just do what you want to do. Okay, that is probably not the best advice. I'm sorry, Justin. Because, like, the reason why it bothers me is because... Do a spin the wheel tonight. No. No, I don't think I will. Yeah, I'm just not for it. Shit, April has not been my month. Fuck. That's a bummer. Thought April would be. Thought there'd be, I don't know, a difference. Maybe April has to, in order for it to be my month, I actually have to change. And not like small change where it's just sort of like, oh, I have not done like takeaway meals like all of this week. I have just been, you know, I've just been going with the ready cooked meals or nothing. Body dysmorphia is very much a thing. It's why I torture myself at the gym for an hour each day. Here, I've tried to do gym. I've gone through like 3 or 4 different gym subscriptions because of the case of I had a gym membership when I was in a university dorm, and then I dropped it because I left the university dorm and I didn't see the same gym franchise nearby where I was living. The second gym I went into was near where I was living, but in the last 2 years that I was living in that place, I didn't really like go to it and what have you, and I figured I was like wasting money and shit. Then I joined a third gym at the behest of my brother-in-law because my sister and her husband understood, you know, they knew where my limits were and such like that, but they also understood, you know, I wasn't like happy with where my body is and what have you. And the body dysmorphia thing, like I would have to get like a proper diagnosis for, and quite frankly, that is something I don't exactly feel like is. I don't think that's a. I know exactly where I'm upset. It's because I'm fat, and it's like it's not even a. Oh, maybe it's just a small thing because you're not. No, I'm very much am fat. I was once 140 kilos. I probably am 140 kilos right now, but I don't know because my weights have broken when I was sitting at like 120 something, and it's very much like it doesn't matter if I'm happy or upset at like 130 or 140 kilos. The rest of the world doesn't work for people over 100 kilos. You want to go skydiving, you have to be at least 136 kilos if you want to be in like one of those tube thingy-madiggies. If you want to go go-karting, you have to be less than 130 kilos. Especially if you're like, you know, taller than 5 whatevers. If you look at any chair, step ladder, look at anything that will have a person on it, like either standing or running or sitting on it. They want you at 110 kilos tops. They will not support you at above that. Now, some people might argue of like, oh, that's just a recommendation and what have you. That was a recommendation that has been made through repetition, and to try and guarantee it lasting as long as it should have. I got a entirely different gaming chair because of my fucking weight. Body dysmorphia, you don't need it. It's not like gender disorder, being unhappy with the way your body looks or feels. Body dysmorphia. Oh, okay. So it's just a thingy of like, oh, if you're not happy with your body, it's body dysmorphia. Whether it's the case of it needs to be changed or not is irrelevant from the diagnosis. Cool. Nice. Good morning. Hi, Sage. How have you been today? I didn't go to work today, thankfully, because I did the Saturday shift, and after flying like in and out from like Brisbane to Sydney and then back into Brisbane and getting, waking up at 2 in the morning and then coming back here at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, didn't go to work today. So, yeah, but lower back sore, the weird tendon from the the groin to my right leg is sore, and it only hurts when I'm trying to here's the thing, it's not on things of like, oh, let me go for a walk. It's on dumb shit like, let me put my pants on, let me put my socks on. It's on the stuff where it's like, I want to actually dress myself and shit. Ugh. You'd rather have a chubby guy than a skeleton? Here's the thing, though. Nothing I will ever do will get me back to a skeleton. The only time I was a skeleton was, back when I was, a teenager, and there was a divorce going off between my mom and my dad, and I was, just average teenager where I didn't have the money to fuck up my life. This is where I'm at now, 30 years old, and I had so much time to, set the habits that would have been good or bad, and I have settled on terrible habits. I have no clue if an advertisement is going to go off or not. There probably is, isn't there? Yep, there is. Yeah, I just hate my gut. So... And it's I don't want to be... I don't want to be skin and bones, and I don't want to be absolutely fat. I just want to be fine. I just want to, I want to wake up and not have a fucking gut in the mirror and making me, have, such a... just have a belly that's, even after putting on, 2XL shirts, or it's I can almost see it, dipping out, bleh. Hate it. I hate that visual. I hate midriffs. I hate clothing that is incapable of covering up a middle. It is not sexy. Just go for fucking a brawl or whatever the fuck. No, but if you get a shirt should go. It should be able to get down to the waist. I try to change my habits right now. Stop with the soda and on with the water. I do need to. I'm halfway there. I am halfway there. I've stopped purchasing cola, but I've not kicked it entirely because I have a soda stream with flavoring. I need to stop the flavoring. Twitch has decided now is a good time. It did. It really did. And I just was not in the... I just wasn't 100% on, clicking on the thing and what have you, and yeah. Flying sucks, so understandable. Thank you so much. You do want good cardio health, though, which is you don't need a gym for, even if you don't shift much weight, just go for a walk every day. The walking is what I need to try and do, but it's holy shit, I've not done that. You're 33, you lost 40 kilos just in the last few months, so I was fat all my life, and you don't need to stop drinking. Sugar-free versions are fine. What, Pepsi Max? With Pepsi Max, granted, I'm not going to use Pepsi Max as a substitute for water. Let's be real, that's not a great idea. Cool, still got water. Although, is this thing leaking? Oh, great, it is leaking. Great. Another thing to put on the throne is new water bottle. I'm not even talking a small 700 100 like milliliter thing. I'm talking like one of those chunky 3-liter bottles that you use to fill other bottles. That's what I like drinking from. What was I going to type in? Pepsi Max, Coke Zero. Still drink lots of water. Most of my gym buddies have a sugar-free Monster or a Musushi at the gym. I feel like a sugar-free Monster would almost be worse than a sugar-free like Pepsi. So, all right, where was I in my train of thought? Oh yeah. Actually no, I won't go on the internet right now. I have other shit I need to like look into doing and such like that. Oh yeah, check out my throne. I decided to put welcome back, Het. It tells me the advertisement isn't going to be done for another 30 seconds, but glad to see that you're back. Check out my throne. The first thing on the top of that wish list, and I've not made it feature, but I very much am going to say it is very much top of my list, is new scales. Because the last one's broke. I have no clue what weight I am. I have no clue if I am just, you know, just proper fat or if I'm just weak. I'd rather have a case of, oh, I'm just fat than weak. Because if I'm fat, then I can do the cardio to fix that. But if I'm weak, I have to do strength training, which is an entirely different sort of exercise, and one I have never ever enjoyed when I go into the gym. I am very much aware of when I have to use the weights. I am absolutely terrified of using free weights because I've dislocated a kneecap one time, and I've seen way too many horror stories of people like dislocating shit and breaking muscles and shit when they do the weights and what have you. Micronutrients make the biggest difference. Noted. Hopefully I can fix that. A lot of it is about being active and exercising as well. I know a lot of people who don't really pay much attention to some of the things that they're eating. Yeah, I've had to try and I've had to try and like, you know, be a little more conscious of what I've been eating and such, especially as I am trying to, you know, reduce the amount of times that I go out to eat or that I like, you know, deliver to the home and such. I'm leaving sugar-free because then it's just stuck with other shit. Soda's a big danger for me. If I switch to sugar-free, I'd be tempted to pick the regular. Switching to milk, water, and tea is the best way to go. Okay, milk kind of makes sense. I remember there was like a whole thing in the 70s or 60s where bodybuilders went for... Before bodybuilders went for protein, they went for milk. True fact. It might be earlier than that. I wish you could come to Australia to say it in your face. I believe that you're fine. When I started my changing of eating habits, you were an inspiration for me. Hey! Thank you! I haven't, like, 100%, like, kicked the takeaway and what have you, but I've downplayed it from, like, 4 times a week to, like, twice a week, so it's not being, like, completely removed, and, you know, it's still going for, like, things like, McDonald's or going for the HSP, which is nothing but like meat, sauce, chips, and cheese. Like, granted, it's like cuts of lamb and chicken. Ah, ow! What the? Can't cross my legs. God damn it! This is the problem. Sugar-free alternatives are scaremongering freaky, but it's sugar and salt replacements that keep diabetics enjoying the food they love. There's no more risk from sugar-free drinks than any other sodas. All right. Hopefully you two aren't going to have a bit of a fight about this. Both of you are in a case of, like, you know, wanting me to, like, feel better and give me advice about weight loss and such. I don't want to see arguments about, like, how am I going to be losing weight and shit like that. Neither you are paid to be here. If someone is paying you to be here, holy shit, who's paying you? And why aren't they paying me to stream? I never do takeaway because I don't have the money for it, and walking to a grocery store is kind of exercise too. You mostly try to focus on eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner on regular times. You believe this is a good way to make sure you ain't more hungry over the day. I don't eat breakfast. True fact. I don't eat breakfast. It is not a necessity. If I'm on break, if I'm on holiday, I eat breakfast. Because either I'm with a family where we're all doing breakfast and I'm able to, like, join in and not have to, like, worry about making the bacon or the pancakes or whatever kind of fruit my grandfather decides to, like, you know, grab from the grocery store, like blueberries and shit. Or I've gone to a con, and the last con I went to, Furdu, by the by, they had free breakfast for residents, or for people that were at the hotel, which was absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Either way, I'm not a qualified nutritionist, so take my knowledge with a grain of salt. This from a fat boy who started gym recently has seen some massive progress. Just passing on stuff I've learned, that's all. Cool. I appreciate I appreciate both you, Het, and Benru for giving me the tips, giving me the motivations. Just didn't want, the two of you, going back and forth about the sugar-free sodas and what have you. So, where am I? Working in restaurants, I had to walk a lot, so that pretty much is exercise too. Yeah, right now I'm working in IT. This has probably been like one of the last week or two was probably one where I've done a little more walking than normal, but probably under like the worst circumstances, because it was a case of waking up at 2 in the morning, walking around an airport, sitting in a cramped seat, having a, also that's one of the other things I absolutely hated. The airline belt buckles, they still use the normal, oh, here's the tiny little metal thingy on the right side, on the left side is your buckle, and you can adjust the strap. Right now, I have to have that thing set to the max. I have to have, no spare fabric, and then I just go, click. It's absolute. So, that was also, a recent, fun little moment of, shocker. You are dealing with terrible, whatsamahoozies. You're dealing with an airline that doesn't want to deal with a gut. I believe you can get through it. Change mainly starting with wanting to change. Most breakfast is fat-free yogurt and fruit, and lunch was just bread. Oh, I can't do a low-level lunch like that. I can't do lunch with just bread. Lunch is where where I get most of my energy, quite frankly. So breakfast and dinner is where, granted, a lot of days I can probably just get away with lunch, quite honestly, because I'm not doing that much exercise. And hang on a sec, how much energy do I get from the ready-cooked meals? Not the 1 kilogram, 350. Let's have a look. In 350 grams, this chilled meal has... Where is the nutrition? Approximately 2,590 kilojoules. How many kilojoules do I need to be awake? kg required per day. Wait, what? 8,000? I thought the recommended amount was 2,500. What? Frequently asked questions. In Australia, we use kilojoules as a measure of energy. Energy used to measure 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 kilojoules. Sometimes 8,700 per day is used as an approximate figure for the average Australian to maintain their weight. This can be a rough guide and can be useful for knowing how much room the kilojoules in a portion of food found by using the kilojoule balance. How much do I recommends at least 30 minutes of moderately intensive physical, preferably all day activity on most, preferably all days. So every day, 30 minutes. A good example of a moderately is brisk walking. This is at a pace where you're able to comfortably talk but not sing. Other examples include mowing the lawn, digging in the garden, or medium pace swimming or cycling. Could be cool to get a cycle-a-thon thing in the Diggy at night. Hi there, Phantom. Thank you for the Rainbow Rush. Yeah, that is why lunch is bread for me. Here in the Netherlands, our lunches are that big. We don't make complete meals out of our lunches. Strength meals here in New Zealand, but I think they're Aussie-based. They have all the macro proteins. Strength meals? Never heard of this before. Control T. I think... Strength meals, yeah, they're from Woolies, apparently. I'ma be real, I have not seen this before. I have not seen this in the Woolies that's, right by me. What section is it? 1780, 42 grams of protein. What section of the aisle is this from? Check in stores. Bullshit. Where the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, $9.95. That's why I've probably been avoiding it. I've been going for ready-cooked meals that are, you know, more in the $5 to $7 range. This one's close to 10. Ah, maybe I should go for that. Sent you a link on the Discord. Thank you so much. You got a new footrest. Hey, nice. Sounds cool. what did Sage say earlier? I'm extremely bad with eating as a result of not really having an appetite. Like, I generally have no sensation of hunger, so usually I end up skipping most meals out of sheer obliviousness or being too busy. However, recently I've been trying to be better about it and actually trying to eat breakfast and maybe a lunch. I think, I'm trying to think where I'm at with my, like, meals and what have you. Oh, hey, cool, you got a... Wait, did you just get a box, or did you actually get a PS5? My gosh, I really want to go to the bathroom. Where was I in my train of thought? You were... Oh, yeah, you were talking about, like, you know, forcing yourself to eat breakfast and lunch. I don't think I'm, like, oblivious to my hunger. I think I do feel hungry, but the problem is that I'm not... It's hard to figure... Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, the, I'm trying to figure out if this is, like, a brain thing for me, but, like... I'm trying to figure out if I'm, like, if I'm only hungry during the times everyone says you should be eating. Like, because if it gets to, like, say... If it gets to, like, say, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'm not, you know, thinking about eating and what have you. But when it gets to, like, 5 p.m., or, you know, on my way back home, where it's, like, 4:15, it's because of, like, going back home, or, you know, being in my apartment at, like, 5 in the afternoon, then I'm like, oh, I should probably eat something. I wonder if that's why I don't think about... Maybe. Alright, hang on. Can I adjust... Fuck! Ah! Thought I could... No, right leg is feeling weird in that joint... Or, not the joint, but like the tendon between the groin and the thigh. It's really annoying. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm done tonight. I think I'm honestly done tonight. We're updating our suspension evasion policy. You may discuss or react to a VOD from another service of suspended, but you may not feature them on your stream as a guest. Yep, cool. But yeah, I should let you know too, you can create public wish lists directly on Amazon so that people can buy you stuff without you giving away. Yeah, no, that's why I've got my throne. Benru, that's why I have Throne, which does, like, basically the same sort of thing. Like, unless Amazon lets me link my Amazon Prime to delivery and such like that, if you're buying off my wish list, Throne makes it so that not only can I put on, like, Amazon products, but then people can recommend me other items, and it could either be on Amazon or it could be on any of their affiliate sites and what have you. So there's that. And right now at the top of the list is a pair of scales that should, you know, calculate my weight because I don't have any of those. Oh, hey, you got a tire. And a pair of thigh highs because Unnamed was like, oh my god, these are such amazing thigh highs. You need to get them, Grant. And I'm like, I'm not buying myself thigh highs. And they're like, I'll add it to your throne. And I was like, fuck it, add it to my throne. Not a lot of people look in that place and stuff like that. I need to have a look and see if there's a way of, like, promoting the throne a little bit more. Because when it came to, like, putting my CPU on there, I remember I spent so much money on that CPU. I did a majority of the contributions and what have you. Absolutely weird. Any whoosies. I think I'm done tonight. I don't think I can go on, like, for another hour or two. Because I'm not in the mood for games. I am very much aware of, like, how my feet and my legs are positioned, and I'm cautious of, like, how I cross my legs and what have you. I'm just not for it. I am just not for it. Okay, so Kofu is currently not here. They're apparently in the middle of peeing, is what their BRB screen says. What's Dazarus doing? Dazarus is playing Pal World. I have no... Sure. Let's go raid into Dazarus. Let's go raid into Dazarus. Thank you so much, Grant. It was great to see you again. Just know that you can do it. You have people supporting you, and take it easy. Drink water. Get some rest. I will definitely try and get some rest, and hopefully my leg won't be a little bitch when I'm in my bed and what have you. Tomorrow night, I am going to have a party game stream. I desperately ask you to join me. Please join me for the party game stream tomorrow night. There should be like a time translation in the Twitch schedule and on my Discord, and it looks like we're going to be going through Jackbox Party Pack. So you just need an internet connection. You just need to be able to browse the internet on like a mobile phone or a tablet or your own PC. I would love for people here to join us for that one. See you tomorrow for the party stream. See you tomorrow's. So yeah, that is going to be that's going to be it for tonight, I'm sorry to say. I want to sleep. I want the pain to go away, and I want to, like, you know... Yeah. Pain. Bye.